Thank you, Jenny. Fun stuff, huh? Yeah? I like Saboteur. It is, I think there's a perfect amount of, humor, and suspense. The last scene especially, his choice not to have any sound during that outside of, the ships out in the harbor really gives you the sense of elevation too. Like you can only hear things off in the distance, so it really creates that sense of height. And I always love, the one sequence where he's doing his handcuffs. You can mathematically check that out. Did you notice it? It's the girl on the road, close-up of Barry, close-up of the cuffs, close-up of Barry, girl on the road, repeat 5 times. Right. And each time you shorten the length of the cut. But I mean, it's just so mathematically precise. But beyond that, we saw all this, American, enthusiasm here, the whole demonstration of democracy, and of all places, the freak show. I don't know what that's, him saying about us, for all members of this. One thing, too, to point out, back in the 30s, I'd spoken a little about Frank Capra. And if I hadn't shown you Scarface, I would have shown you It Happened One Night. And in It Happened One Night, it's kind of like a mismatched couple. The daughter of a wealthy heiress falls in love with a poor newspaper man. They're on opposite sides of the tracks, yet they get together. Regardless, the butt of all the humor in It Happened One Night, as with most of the comedies during the Great Depression, would be the rich. Okay? The 1%, if you will. It was the rest of us 99 that were suffering, that were actually going to the theater, and there was nothing better than to see the rich brought down a peg. That same philosophy that was existing in the 1930s is being applied here as well. It is the rich that are the poor, that considers themselves above the moron millions, as Tobin described you and I, ladies and gentlemen. So they're using that as well as their anti-American sentiment. They're trying to say, well, these are rich people, so far removed from the experience of us, the common man, that are filling the seats. They are being vilified as well, so it's really interesting how he's using, things that we have inherent with us, maybe the envy of the rich. Okay, well here, let's cast them as the bad guys. And that's going to make them even more villainous. Comments, curls, how about the effeminate nature that they're trying to give to some of the bad guys as well? I have 2 lovely boys. One is 4 and one is 2. I want to let the 2-year-old golden curls grow. I used to have golden curls. What? I mean, they're deliberately, putting all these shades onto the villains to demonize them. But yeah, the major. The part of the freak show, even having a mustache, not quite Hitler's mustache, but you get the idea. He's called to his face a fascist, and then Tobin, gives that great speech, the same one with the moron millions. He talks about how he likes the competency of totalitarian states, Okay, so the trains run on dime in Italy, but is that the most important thing? No. It's our democracy, it's our freedom. And too, the Statue of Liberty at the end, reminding us that it was a gift from the French. And she turns around and says, oh, isn't it horrible what's happening to the French these days? They're already occupied by the Nazis. So reminding us again, this is a gift from the French. We should be on their side. We should help them out. All in an attempt to get Americans behind the war. And eventually we would get behind it, and eventually we would win. Spoiler alert, I am so sorry. I was going to keep you in suspense until next week. We do have a really beautiful film in store for us next week, ladies and gentlemen. It's The Bicycle Thieves. Oh, yes. Post-war Italy, one of the first films in a new movement called Italian neo-realism. How many have seen The Bicycle Thieves already?
Years ago.
Oh my goodness. Wow. The rest of you are in for such a treat. So, any questions or comments about Saboteur?
The only thing, I love the carnival, and one of my favorite things that ever happened on television, I think it's an HBO thing, but I don't have television, I just watch Netflix, is Carnival.
Oh yes.
And some of the characters actually, the woman with the beard and the and the philosopher, and there was some kind of relationship to that. I love them. I love that drama, it's so good.
Carnival.
Carnival.
Carnival, okay.
It took place in the 30s during the Dust Bowl in that area of the country, and it's just extremely well done. It only went for 2 seasons, and then the writer's strike happened, and they never brought it back.
Yeah, because I remember when it started, and then it just kind of disappeared. I think, you know, the Freak Show, if you will, is also the setting for the new American Horror Story, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh.
for the 4th
Pretty
season.
sure that starts tonight.
Does it start tonight? You've given me something to live for. This class is something to live for. I don't need more beyond that. But if it's on tonight, all the better. Very cool, Sage. Thank you. Yeah, Darren.
So this is like a, I feel like I missed something, technical question. He's locked in a food pantry, probably in the basement from
Right.
the way the guy describes it. He lights the thing and the sprinklers go off.
Next thing you know,
Next thing you
see him
know,
out
he's
on the
outside
street.
the building. Are we to assume that they scoured the building and found him and let him
Yeah.
out? It was like,
They were kind of showing people running around, the butlers and stuff, and the house staff running around and opening and closing
So
doors,
somebody
and I
just
assumed that they'd-
let him out.
Yeah.
We didn't
I-
see him found.
They should have,
Right.
they should have in fact showed that part, where anyone else, you know,
Right.
they open the door or
Yeah.
something.
Something.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to clock somebody out.
Somebody that came in,
yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't really miss anything.
No, he was trying a
Nobody
little
else
sleight of hand, as you said, he was saying, we saw other people opening doors, and maybe he was hoping we would forget that.
did. Okay.
Because all of a sudden, we're across the street, and there's Barry already on the other side of the sidewalk,
Right.
turning around, you know.
Right.
just-
Were
No,
those-
they were probably trying to save some money there.
I didn't see him though, did you, you saw him, I guess.
Yeah, but literally, you only see him for a split second, he's already on the other side of the street.
Right.
You know, and you're,
Scenes away, and I forgot to look.
yeah, it's,
I was-
Yeah, I thought I looked away for a second and, whoa, how did I miss whatever happened? But I
now,
didn't.
the movie theater sequence, this is one film that I've always wanted to see on a big screen, because I can only imagine what that experience must be like. For us here, when Fry, the shooter, came out, he was only this big. But imagine if you were to see that in a real movie theater, he would probably be closer to the size of an actual human. So
That would be cool.
his silhouette would have actually looked like someone coming out with a gun in hand. Of course, nowadays that's not something we want to see in the theaters.
Yeesh.
Memories of Aurora are all too fresh.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
back then, that must have been quite something. You know, almost as terrifying as at the end of the Great Train Robbery, where the guy points his gun and fires it at us.
Yeah. I remember that. Saw it here.
That's right. You saw it here. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a wonderful week. The midterm is due next week. Again, nothing to freak out over. 7 questions. Do give it some time. Do give it some thought. If you don't have one of these hand-ups, come up and get them from me. Sage, did you get one?
Yeah.
You did, okay. And if you have any questions,
I'll go change my status.
okay, that's wonderful. And if you have problems with that, Liz, let me know, and I'll see what I can do on my end.
Okay.
There are articles posted on our course homepage for every film that we've seen so far in this class. If you have problems accessing Jack, please come and see me. I'm more than happy to talk you through it. It's a really easy process, but all the readings are there in relation to our films.
Talk to Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Have a good week. Thank you. Take one of those just in case. Carrie, how you doing?
Good, you?
I'm doing well, thank
I
you.
was hoping to ask you something. We can talk about, we're gonna meet outside.
Oh, no, I have that.
Okay.